Guys, Mary Kay tweeted out this morning that the Browns are placing 4 players on injured reserve. None of them are David Njoku. Juan Thornhill, Mamadou Diabate, Tony Fields, and Mo Hurst, all placed on the injured reserve list. The injury bug hitting early and often for the Browns. I didn't even realize Thornhill got hurt in the game. I was telling you guys, that came as a complete shock to me. Dustin, when you were watching, I know this is a position you played, safety, defensive back. Did you see a play where Thornhill got hurt? Did you see any signs that he was hurt throughout the game?
I didn't see him,
I saw his pride get
up. He wasn't reaching for like a hamstring or whatever. I don't even know what was the injury. Did they say what the injury was?
No, a calf injury.
Oh, that's
all they said. Just
calf.
I don't remember them ever mentioning anything on the broadcast.
That's one of those.
Or after the game.
Right.
That's one of those that you could just tweak during the game and kind of grind through.
Maybe you think it's nothing at the time.
You think it's nothing.
And then the day after, you're like, okay, this is serious.
I've had that so many times.
Your calves are always a mess.
I'd pull a calf walking up a stair. So I'm not one to talk. But no, I think that's something definitely could be lingering, and like it happened during the game, and all of a sudden after you're in the shower or whatever, and you're like, I kind of swing, and then you go in on Monday, and you say, hey, take a look at this, and they're like, yeah, you got a good strain there, pretty good strain.
That's when it happens in the shower. All of your injuries,
they come out in the shower.
They come out, you be in there, you be like, damn,
what's going on in my low back? I mean,
my legs.
Why do I have a bruise on my ass?
It's like this is. Did I get tackled?
Sometimes you don't feel it in the heat of the moment.
Crazy.
How big are these injuries, guys? How much does this hurt the Browns?
I mean, you're losing a starter, and Hurst is, a rotational guy on the D line. I mean, none of those injuries are devastating, I don't think, but they're meaningful.
Sure.
I mean, Thornhill's probably the biggest out of that group.
I mean,
you got a safety who controls so much in this offense to be able to, and he was healthy. I mean, playing good, in camp and everything. So that's a big loss. I mean, obviously we're not talking about IR with David Njoku, but like that to me is the biggest loss.
That's the biggest
for now, because it takes away such a huge part of your offense that's already struggling.
I like Ronnie Hickman. He pulled up a little bit in the preseason. I don't know if it was a growing or a hip or a hamstring when he gave up a play earlier in the preseason. He played pretty well when he was in there last year. You got Rodney McLeod, who's a veteran. He could probably step in and help out a little bit. They'll probably rotate him in and out. Maurice Hurst, that hurts a little bit, but you do got Quentin Jefferson. You do got Shelby Harris. Mm-hmm. They have a little depth there as well. So, I mean, the thing about me is the linebacker position. I didn't even know Jordan Hicks was playing. I didn't even. I was like, is he playing? I didn't know his name. And now you got Diabate out, Tony Fields, special team dude, he's out too.
That's your fourth and fifth linebacker.
Yeah, but also special teams were dog shit.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They were not good.
Yeah. So I mean, you're losing some depth there, guys that run down and make tackles, and if you're already struggling to make those tackles, I mean that's a big loss.
You're gonna see a little more Devin Bush in there. He is what he is. He's not no front line, starting linebacker, but more than anything, what this means, guys, is your frontline guys got to be frontline guys, man. Like, watching these games across the spectrum in the NFL, man, you need your guys to be who they are and how they're viewed, how they pick them as the top dudes. So the Myles Garrett's got to be dominant. The JOK's got to have a better game. You know what I'm saying? The Denzel Wards, when the ball hits you in the hand, you got to pick that off. Now things just ramp up where now everybody got to be a little more locked in, a little more dialed in. And, it's so funny. I watched the, all 22, and I got a chance to go over it. And what's so funny is when you look at it, and Dustin, you know this, there are plays where you watch every single one of these plays, and there are 9 guys doing great jobs. Mm-hmm. It's just 2 guys.
That's all it takes.
2 guys where you don't want to run the right route. You don't slide the protection the right way. Deshaun throws the ball behind somebody. A person is out of their gap and gives up 4 yards instead of 2 and keep the drive going. So it's really frustrating because if you look at it in a vacuum, you just say, look, we did some decent things, but it's just every single play there's another person breaking down. It's different.
Look, I think the reality of the situation is this. You know, you've got a team that played so poorly on Sunday that we're looking at every single thing with a fine-tooth comb as to why the world is ending and to why this team is doomed.
Is it not that bad?
I always think it's like, I always had a coach who said in college, he's like,
never as bad, never
it's
as
like
good.
the golf shot, man. You hit it off the tee, you're like, man, it's a sweet shot. You get up there, you're 25 feet from the hole. Yeah. You know, so it's never as good as you think, never as bad as you think. I think it's the case with the Browns right now. And because everything is, you know, sky is falling, these injuries are like, oh. Now, the problem with that is, you know, in that locker room, the guys feel that too. And you start to feel like, man, everything's going against us. You play the victim in a lot of cases, and they need something positive to happen like now.
They've got to win this game.
They've got to win this game.
Yeah.
It's so crucial for the team internally and for morale to not let this slip away, because what can happen, Jay, is this season could slip away like in September.
Yeah.
Be done for the year.
Let me ask you about that, because Friday, remember we had the conversation where I said every team starts with their balloon filled with 100% optimism. Everybody is in first place. It's a new day. It's a new season. And I had said, we gave the example, I said, now, look, they go out there and lose 35-7, and the thing is popped, and all the optimism is gone. Because we were talking about a silver lining in defeat. If Watson plays great, they lose on a last-second field goal to Dallas, look, you've got some optimism moving forward, like Baltimore felt after the KC loss.
Yeah.
In your experience, now, I know at Ohio State, when you lose, the optimism is at negative. You know, you can't lose a game. But take us into an NFL locker room. When you lose that season opener game and you've got big aspirations for the season, where is their optimism balloon right now?
It's tough. You know, you lose any game in the league, it feels like you've lost a season.
Isn't the first one, though, so
the first one is always bigger because it sets the tone, I think, for the season. But like every game, you put so much time and effort into it, and it's one per week, right? That you really have to balance the ride of the roller coaster, because the highs can get super high, the lows can get super low. Right now, the lows are way low for the team heading into this Jacksonville game, because there's so much uncertainty with how your quarterback play is going to be. The situation off the field, that's one thing. The rest of the team, the injuries you bring into it, you bring in the coaching situation with the play call. Like, there's just a lot of things that are like up in the air right now that need to be stabilized, and I don't know how, other than them winning the game this week, that will happen.
Guys, let me ask you all this. Forget the stats, forget the PFF grades. Eye test. Was there anybody that you saw that played well for the Browns on Sunday?
Not that I saw.
Dustin?
Yeah,
anybody stand out at all?
There were guys that made some plays. I mean, I thought our defensive line at times, especially early in the game, you know, were
guys made plays.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett
but
made
what do you mean?
a
I mean,
play. But
sure.
When we say played well, like, you're going to grade out at an A+.
Oh, there are players that graded out well, but there are G. Bush knows this. He played a position that's not sexy.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, we're not watching the guards, and we're not watching
no, but
the
nobody
defensive
jumped
tackles.
off the screen. Like when
Nobody
you were
jumped
watching,
off the screen, no.
You know, and we talked about this too on Friday. I think G said that Myles Garrett is underrated, and I brought up the reason that he's not is because when the game is in the balance and you need plays, I don't see him make enough of those. I watched the Steelers, and all day long, from the first quarter to the last gun, TJ Watt was making one impact play after another. It was incredible. It was to the point where I was actually calling out in big situations, 3rd and 3. I go, here goes TJ Watt.
it's pretty remarkable.
Boom.
He's
He
unblockable.
makes every clutch play. And then when you watch the Browns too, on the other side of the line, they had a guy that was doing the same thing. He controlled the game. Micah Parsons played up to his reputation. And Myles Garrett did not. He did make one play, but for the most part, and you said it about with JOK, like, this is a guy now that we're going to hold to a Pro Bowl standard. Didn't jump off the screen at me.
Yeah, those are great examples. I guess more along the lines I was thinking of skill position guys, because I don't think there's one guy in the Browns on Sunday that had a chance to touch the football that played well. Like, no skill positions played well. I thought the quarterback position was atrocious. The running backs, I mean, no one who touched the football did anything exceptional.
No.